Hey guys, it's Jessica with Southern Sparrow, and we are in our Maj 102 series. So this is our strategy improvement for beginners series. So if you haven't watched Maj 101 and you're just learning American Mahjong, go back and watch that series first. That's where we go over all of the rules, how to look at the tiles, what they mean, how to read the National Mahjong League card, Charleston, all of the things that you need to do, how to do live gameplay, etc. So go watch that series first. If you're here, that means that you're ready to start improving your strategy. And the first thing that we're going to do is to get even more familiar with our National Mahjong League card. So we're going to go section by section over these next few videos and get used to what are the hands in each section and what other ways can we win those hands? How are they written? And how do the parentheses help us to win more often? So let's start today. We're going to start with this top section. This is the 2025 section. And if you're watching this in a future year, this section should still be the year, but obviously the hands change on every single year's National Mahjong League card. So they put a new card out in April, and that has new hands still broken out into these sections. So if you're getting used to the 2025 sections, that will all still be relevant knowledge in 2026, 2027, etc. as each new card comes on. It'll just be that the hands will be slightly different, but the way you read the card will still remain the same. So let's talk about it. We're going to look at, there are 4 hands in the 2025 section. Again, I encourage you to have your National Mahjong League card in front of you as you do these videos, because it does get a little tricky to see what I've got going on. If you have your card in front of you, we're just looking on this top section on the first panel within the National Mahjong League card. That's the 2025. So we're gonna look at the first hand, and I've built out, well, somewhat, each hand from this section. So let me turn this rack around for you, and let me just actually move these guys out of the way. I should have set up a little bit differently, but let's look at this rack to start. So this is the first line on the card on this 2025 section. So it's written as Kong, remember 4 of a kind, Kong of flowers, 4 flowers. Then you have 2025, 2, 0. Remember that soap is a 0 in this section. When the soap is played as a 0, the soap is the white dragon. It is the dragon for the dot suit. When the soap is played as a 0, it doesn't have a suit. So that means it can be combined with any suit. Here I've combined it with cracks. So 2025, 2025. This is considered a group of singles, meaning you cannot use a joker in it. So I could not play this as 2025 this way. This is a no-go. You cannot play with a joker here because it's a group of singles. And similarly, because it's a group of singles, you cannot call for a tile needed for this section of your hand unless it's your last tile to Maj. So that is, this group of singles is 2025 here. So you have your 4 flowers, you have your 2025, and then it's shown on the card as 2s, pungs of 2s. So you have 3 2s in one suit and 3 2s in another suit. But let's read those parentheses, and then you'll understand why I've shown it this way on my rack. The parentheses say any 3 suits, right? So we have cracks, dots, and bams all represented. That's all 3 suits. Any 3 suits. This second part is where you can learn some more ways to win this hand. Like pungs, 2s or 5s in opposing suits. So what does that mean? We have some like pungs. It's shown on the card as 2s and 2s. Okay? They must be like. So I couldn't do this as 2s and 5s. That's not like, right? You have to play 2s. This would have to be 2s. Or you can play it as 5s and 5s as I've set it up here. So we have 5s and 5s. So that means that this hand could be played. This is the hand as written, right? The hand as written is 4 flowers, a 2025 meld, a pung of 2s, that's a different suit from this 2025 suit, and another pung of 2s that is a different suit from this 2025 suit. Okay, that's how it's written. Here's another way to play it. Flowers, 2025, 5s and 5s. We could also play it as let's see. We could play it this way with these suits. You see, the suits can go anywhere in this line. You can move things around. It is actually a very flexible card when you get used to looking at it and reading the parentheses. So because it can be any 3 suits, those suits can go anywhere. I showed it to you with cracks, dots, bams. Now I'm showing it to you with dots, cracks, bams. So you have that flexibility within the suits, and you have the flexibility within the parentheses to change the numbers here. And I've lost some of what I need. So we would put this here. Oh, that would not work the way I have it here, right? Because these suits are the same. These are not opposing. So this would need to be 5 cracks. So here we go. So you could play it this way. So this is how we're going to learn to get better at winning the card more frequently. Because we've read the parentheses, we know it has to be any 3 suits, which means the suits can go anywhere. And we know that these pungs can be 2s or they can be 5s, as long as they match each other. Meaning if you're doing it in 5s, this has to be 5s too. Or if you're doing this in 2s, this has to be 2s. And they are different suits. They're called opposing suits, different suits than what is shown here in your 2025. So that's how you play the first line in the 2025 section, which incidentally is your most flexible line, because that one does give you the opportunity to switch your 2s and your 5s. Okay, that's the first line. That's our most flexible line on this card in the 2025 section. Let's build the second line. So we're going to look at the second line. We don't need our flowers. I had it built out here, and then I've kind of made a mess. Let's see what I got. Okay, so we're going to look at that line. The way that it's written is we have a pung of 2s. I'm going to choose to do that as 2 cracks. So let's get this guy over here because I think I'm going to have to steal from that rack. So I've got my pung of 2 cracks. Then I need to have a Kong, 4 of a kind of the soap. Remember, the soap is the 0, and it doesn't have a suit when it is played as a 0. And then I need a different suit, 2s and 5s. So I have my 5s here, and I have my 2s here. So this is how I've set it up to begin with to kind of match the way it's written. I've got 3 2 cracks. I have my 4 zeros, my soaps. I have 3 2 bams, and then I have my 4 5 bams. And obviously I've used some jokers in here. Remember, your jokers can go in any grouping of 3 or more tiles. They can't be used in a pair, and they can't be used in a group of singles like when we had 2025 in the last hand. But they can be used the way we've used them here. So we have our 2s, we have our 0s, we have our 2s, we have our 5s. Let me show you something that's important to know, especially for this section. Because this soap, when it's played as a 0, doesn't have a suit, I can play this hand this way. Excuse me. I can play it with 2 dots, and then my 0s, and then my 2s and bams, because read what it says, any 2 suits, which means I can play it with cracks and bams, right? Cracks and bams would be the 2 suits. I can play it with dots and bams. I could switch this and play it with cracks and dots over here. I could play it with dots and cracks over here. All that's telling you, any 2 suits, is that the numbers must be 2 different suits, and they can be any 2 suits. But remember that this doesn't count as a suit, so it's totally legal to use your dot suit as one of the 2 suits in the numbers, because this doesn't have a suit when it's played as a 0. Okay, that's the second hand. Let's look at the third hand. I kind of tried to set it up here. The third hand, okay, well now all the tiles are on the floor. All right, guys, this is why I don't make movies. I make mahjong tiles. Okay, here we go. We have the third line down. So we're gonna go back to that group of singles, our 2025. I'm gonna steal a soap from here, and we're going to do it as, let's do it in dots. We're gonna do 2, 0, 2, 5. So there's our 2025. Then we need 3 2s. Let's do it in cracks. Let's see, do I have a 5 crack? No, we'll just do it here. We'll do a joker. We need our 3 5 cracks, and then we have 4 dragons. So let's get a little tighter in on that. This says any 3 suits. So I have dots represented here. I have cracks represented here. And I have bams represented here. The green dragon goes with the bams. So what I could also do is I could do 2025, and then do this in dots. The 2s and our 5s could be in dots with this green dragon. We could also then sub this out. Let's see, if we got rid of our green dragon, we could do our 2025 here in BAMs and bring forward our red dragons. So you can play that hand that way as well. So again, it's any 3 suits. So you can do your BAMs, your dots, your cracks. You saw the other ways that I had it set up. Any 3 suits. The suits can go anywhere. They don't have to match the color on the card. That's something we learned in Maj 101. But just a reminder, the 3 suits are mix and match. So you have flexibility there. One thing to watch out for is when you're gathering your dragons, make sure that they are not matching the other one of the other suits that you have out here. So with this setup, if I have the 2025 and BAM, I would not want my dragons to be these green dragons. That won't work. These are matching, not opposing. And this card very specifically says any 3 suits. You must have all 3 suits. And you have to match the color pattern, meaning these 2s and 5s right here, they must be the same suit because they're shown in the same color on the card. Okay, let's show the last line in this section. And I don't think I'll show every single line in every single section. I just want you guys to understand different ways that you can play each hand so that as you're sitting down with your card and you're getting better and better at this, you have that flexibility of knowing, okay, I can change the suits around here, or oh, I can change out the numbers on this one, or oh, it's shown as, you know, as we get into the consecutive run section, oh, it's shown as 1, 2, 3, 4, but I know that I can play that as 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the kinds of things that we're trying to perfect here so that you have more optionality for winning when you sit down to play Mahjong next. Okay, the last line here, we need a pair of flowers. Reminder, you cannot use a joker there, and you won't be able to call for that pair until it's your last tile to win, your last tile to Maj. Okay, we need 2 flowers, so we have our pair of flowers. Here is our pung, 3 of a kind of 2 BAMs. Here is our, we'll do it this way, or you can do it obviously with more soaps. We have 3 soaps. We have 3 2s in another suit. And then we would need 5s in a different suit. Do I have another 5 crack banging around? No, we're gonna take a joker. So, you have flower, flower, 2s in one suit, soaps, 2s and 5s. The 2s and the 5s are in different suits and in different suits from this. So our parentheses say any 3 suits. But you might be saying, well, but this suit and this suit matches. Remember, the soap doesn't have a suit when it's being played as a 0. So the 3 suits are our BAMs, our dots here, and our cracks. So obviously we can switch that around, right? We could do our 5 dots and bring back our 2 cracks here, right? So this is totally doable. You've got your 2s, your 5s. You could obviously play it this way instead. You have the flexibility of moving the suits around. You don't need to match the colors. You just have to match the pattern. So this is how you play that final line in the 2025 section on our National Mahjong League card. I'm gonna keep showing you guys section by section so that we can get familiarized with this card and feel really comfy as we go into our next game that we play with our friends. Happy Mahjong, y'all.